Okay. Fine. Yesterday, what we have discussed? Okay. Yes. Is for loop what type of control structure? Entry control or exit control? I just pointed there. Okay. So here, yes. What you understood about for loop? Okay. Boys, you want to speak something? Hmm? Yeah, you want to speak something? See, when you are inside my class, in my class, it should be completely okay, pin drop silence. If anybody try to speak or try to disturb the class, I will kick them out. Keep it in mind. Okay. I think you are not seeing, you are not attended offline classes. Till these many days, you are only attending online classes. You better know about me from your seniors. Absolutely silence. If you have not understood any concepts, ask me n number of times, even 100 times. I will explain it 100 times. No worries in that. But don't disturb the classes. Understand? Yes. Just comes after the for. Okay. As in while loop, it comes before it. Next. Yes, very good. Next. Okay, fine. Sit down. There. What are the three statements we write inside the for statement? Condition. Okay. What are the statements we write inside the for statement? Initialization, condition. Are they the same sequence as we mentioned? Yes. Sit down. Good. Sit down. Initialization means what? Initialization means what? Yes, Miss yourself. Assign the value to particular. What is initialization? Can be used only one time. It can be used only one time. Initialization means what? What type of statement we write and what is the purpose of writing initialization? Who can answer? Raise your hands.
So initialization, we are assigning the counter value as I equal to 1 or depending on the condition, we give it the value to the counter or I.
Yes, very good. Sit down. Initialization. Yes, very good. Sit down. Initialization, the name specifies what? Initial value to what? The variable. Which variable? Counter variable. Counter variable means what? We want to repeat the execution inside the for loop for some times. It could be 0 or it could be a number of times, right? So that particular value we need to store it into a one variable. We usually call it to be a counter variable. So we need to provide initial value at the entry point. What is the value of that particular counter variable? So that statement we write in as the first part in the for loop as initialization. After writing the initialization, what character we type? Semicolon. Semicolon. After semicolon, the next statement is condition. What this condition does? What type of operation performed in the condition expression or the condition statement? We have studied some operations, right? Different types of operations, operators. What type of operation is performed inside the condition statement? Is it arithmetic operation? Assignment. What is the type of the result you get from condition statement? You write a condition, I less than n, counter greater than or equal to 10. What is the result of that? Either true or false. What type of operators provides the result in the form of true or false? Relational operators. We can have the statements in condition as relational operators or a combination of logical operators with the relational operators. What about the third statement? Updation. What we mean by updation? Increment or decrement? What? Counter variable. Okay. Now, among these three statements, which is the statements get executed only once? Initialization. And repetition will be done for condition as well as updation. When the condition is false, what will happen? It will skip the body of the for loop. If condition is true, it will execute the statements inside the for loop, that is body of the for loop. Once all the statements inside the body of the for loops are executed, next, what executes? What gets executed? Once the body of the for loop means you have to visualize now. Body of the for loop means after that for statement, open flag bracket, and then you will be having closing flag bracket. Between those, there would be n number of statements. That is body of the for loop. Once all the statements are executed, where does the control goes? Updation. After updation, condition. And then next, if it is true, again the body of the loop, then updation, then condition. If it is false, outside the loop. Fine. So today let us write one program based upon the for loop. A very common type of a program which you will require throughout your BCA. That particular concept we are going to learn in today's class. In mathematics, you have studied something called as the factorial. Yes, right? I think each one of you have studied, irrespective of your streams in PUC. In school, you might have definitely studied, right? Factorial. Can anyone define what is the factorial? Or say, if the number is 5, what is the factorial of 5? Go ahead. Anyone? Raise your hands first. If anybody, let it be correct answer or a wrong answer. No worries. 120.
120
is 120. How it is? How did you calculate? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. What about factorial of 10? I don't require the value. How do you calculate now? 10 into 9 into 8. Up to where you have to multiply? 1. What about factorial of 1? 1. What about factorial of 0? Factorial of
1
1.
1
1. How it is? You multiply, right? 5 means 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. You stop at 1. If it is 2, 2 into 1, you stop at 1. If it is 0, you say answer as a 1. How? Did you anytime ask this question to your mathematics lecturer? No? Next time when you meet your teacher or a sir who taught you maths, ask this question. How factorial of 0 is 1? Okay, sit down. Some other day I will explain you, not today. How it is 0. Sorry, how the factorial of 0 is 1. In another class I will explain you. Okay, fine. Okay. So let me make a copy of this. Online students, is screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Calculate factorial. Write down, students. You can write it in your notebook. Factorial of a number. Most of the content remains same here. Okay, what we require a number whose factorial we are going to calculate. Correct? Now, we need an counter variable and we also require an n value. And we are going to calculate the product, right? Every time we multiply that number and store it into one particular variable. So we require one more variable here. I will take it to be a fact as that variable, and initial value I will update it to be 1, because on any number if you multiply y by 1 you get the same number. So initial value I will take it to be 1. Okay, then enter a number and then you read that particular number. Now we have studied something now. Okay, one more question. Is it possible to calculate a factorial of a negative number? No. Answer is no. We cannot calculate factorial of a negative number. We can have only positive numbers. Suppose if user enters a negative number in the program, suppose when program gets executed, enter a number. If I type -2, it should go and calculate the factorial of that one? No. Rather, it should display a statement stating to be invalid number. Correct? So I need to check that condition first. How I can check? I can have if the number, that number is stored in which variable? The given entered number is stored in which variable? N. How I will come to know whether this n is positive or negative? If the number is less than 0, is it a negative number? Yes, that means if n less than 0. If this is true, then definitely the number is negative. So print a statement here. Print f invalid number. Understood this part? If the given number is negative number, how the program will come to know? If that number n is less than 0, then it is a negative number. Okay, followed? Okay, next. If the number is 0, factorial is what? 1. If the number is 1, factorial is 1. If the number is other than 0 and a 1, then the factorial will change. Yes or no? So we need to handle that situation as well. Like else if, okay, if the number n, if it is equals to 0, or if that n is equals to 1, right? What I want to do now, I want to check whether that number is 0 or 1. How I will come to know? How the program will come to know? Based upon this particular condition. If that n is equals to 0, or this is logical or, then n equal to 1. In both these cases, the factorial is what? 1, isn't it? So I will write a printf statement here. Printf factorial, factorial equals to 1. Correct? Factorial is equals to 1. Straight away we can directly write that statement here. Understood? Did you follow these statements? Why we wrote these if and else if? Yes or no? Okay. Now, if the number is not negative number, if the number is not 0 and also 1, then I need to go and calculate the factorial. As we know, factorial means from that number, I have to start multiplying with all the previous numbers up to 1. Like this way. Let me show you here. If it is number is 3, what has to be done? Factorial. In mathematical notations, we represent it with 3 exclamatory mark, right? 3 factorial equals to 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. Correct? Now, suppose if it is a 5. 5 into 4, 3 into 2 into 1. Now, among these two examples, what is the last number? That is final stage. The final number is 1. But what is the initial value? If the number is 3, initial value is 3. If the number is 5, initial value is 5. If the number is 10, then what will be the initial value? 10. So we start multiplying from 10 up to we reach 1. Right? So common among these observation is that the final value is fixed here. That is 1. But what varies is the initial value. Right? Why I am explaining this part is because we need to write the condition as well as the initialization inside the for loop. In the for loop, the first statement is initialization. Right? So what do you think now? Initialization statement should be here. We need a counter variable. We require a counter variable. What is the name of the counter variable here? I, isn't it? So let us write the code here, that is else. If it is the other part, if it is not a negative number, if it is not a negative number, if it is not 0 as well as 1, then the else block will get executed. See, you should know the concept of this else if ladder here. Then only you will be able to understand here. If the number is negative, it will go here and it will display invalid number. Okay. If the number is 0 or 1, then it will go, the control will go over here and it will display factorial as 1. If both of these conditions are false, then only it will go or it will enter into the else block. Okay. Now here I need to write the for statement. I need to write my for statement here. In this for loop, the first statement, that is for, I need to write 3 statements, isn't it? First one, semicolon, second one, then semicolon, and the third one, right? So first one is what here? Initialization. So initialization means what? What we have studied? We need to provide initial value to the counter variable. What is the counter variable here? I. For I need to give the initial value. As per these observations, initial value is what? Every time it is changing depending upon the number what we enter, right? So what should be the initial value of this I? If it is 3, I should be 3. If it is 5, I should be 5. If it is 10, I should be 10, right? Where that number is stored? N. So our initial value will become I is equals to N. Okay. Then how many times I have to repeat it? That determined by the condition, right? That is final value. The final value, if you look into these examples, the final value is what? 1. So I start from N up to 1, right? So what will become condition here? What will be the condition now here? Okay. Let us go with the other way now. The third statement. Increment or a decrement? Now, what do you think here? It should be increment or a decrement? Decrement, isn't it? We need to decrement the value. Which value, which variable we need to decrement? I. Counter variable has to be decremented. What is the counter variable? I minus minus. Okay. Now, we are starting from, say, if the example is 5, if the n is 5, initial value is 5, then we check for certain condition and then we decrement it. So it will become 4. Next time, again condition, assume that condition is true, we will go into the loop, then again it gets decremented. I becomes 3. Next time, in the next loop, I becomes 2. Next time I becomes, at 1 we have to stop, right? So condition should be what? I greater than or equal to 1. This way you need to figure out how to write the conditions. Right? Initial value is n. So I start from this 5. Then I decrement it. Okay. The condition, how I figured out, I keep on decrementing it until my final value is reached. Final value is what? 1 in this case. So the I value has to be greater than or equal to 1. In that case, I need to repeat through certain statements here. What I need to repeat here? I need to write certain statements here which will calculate the factorial. Okay. Now, assume now the n value is 5. Okay. Now, these numbers, whatever I have written here, each iteration, these are the values of I. Like in the first time, I is 5. Second time, I is 4. Third time, I is 3. Fourth time, I is 2. And then fifth time, I is 1. So what operation I have to perform here? In the first iteration, I need to multiply the given number with what? I have taken one variable here, fact, right? What is the initial value of fact? 1. So here, if I write fact equals to fact into I. Fact into I. Okay. How many operations are there? 2 operations are there. What are those? Arithmetic and assignment. Which one has got highest priority? Arithmetic operation. So first, fact into I have to be calculated. Right? What is the value of fact now? 1. What is the value of I? Example, n is 5 here. So what is the value of I? 5. So 1 into 5. 5. That 5 gets stored where? Factorial. So now the factorial will become 5. Okay. Pay attention. Now factorial will become 5. After this one, so the condition was true. That is 5 greater than or equal to 1 condition was true. It entered into the for loop. And then now what happens? I is, that is fact is equals to fact into I. So we got the fact value as 5 this time. After this, where does the control goes back to? Updation. Updation is what? I minus minus. Current value of I is 5. Next time when I use I has to be 4, decremented by 1. So after this, the control goes to the condition. So I greater than or equal to 1. What is I value? 4. Is 4 greater than or equal to 1? True. True means what has to be done? Enter inside the for. We have one statement. So first, fact into I has to be calculated. Now tell me, what is the value of fact? What is the value of fact? 5. What is the value of I? 4. So 5 into 4 is what? 20. That 20 gets stored in which variable? Fact variable. So now the value of fact is what? 20. note it down somewhere, but I'm just trying to trace it. I can't write on this chart here, just write the values. Now fact is what? 20 and I is 4. Okay. Now, after this, where the control goes back to updation, I minus minus. So next time when I use I should be taken as 3. After this condition, 3 greater than or equal to 1. Is it true or false? True. True means enter inside the for. Again now here calculate fact into I. Now tell me what is the value of fact now? 20. What is the value of I? 3. So 20 into 3, 60. So where does that 60 get stored? Fact. So once this statement is executed, what is the new value of fact? 60. After this updation. So what will be I value? 2. What about the condition? True. True means enter into the for loop. So here fact into I. What is fact value? 60. What is I value? 2. 60 into 20. Sorry, 60 into 2. 120. What is the value of fact now? 120. Correct? After this, again updation. I minus minus. Now, what will be the I value now next time? 1. So is 1 greater than or equal to 1? Yes. True. So enter into the for. Fact value is I value is 120 into 1 120. 120 again gets updated into fact. So now fact value is what? 120. After this updation, I minus minus. That is 1 minus minus. Next time 1 value will become what? 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1? Now what is to be done? Skip the for loop. Don't enter into the for loop. Okay. Once the for loop execution is completed, what is the value of fact now? 120. Is it factorial of number 5? Yes. So what next we need to do? Display that value. Right? So after this next statement here, it will be printf factorial equals to %d/n. Okay. So here the variable name is fact. Okay. Now let us run the program and check whether it gets executed according to what we have studied here. Okay. CD C program. Okay. Was the file number 29 here? 29. Wait. Fine. 5. Are we getting correct answer? Okay. Now let us check for the values which will fall into this if condition, if n is less than 0, right? So let me enter a number here, say -5. What is expected? Do we get that? No, I heard somebody says no. Okay, next. 0. What is expected? 1. Is it giving correct answer? Yes. Next time 1. 1. Let us check for some other number. Say 4. What is the factorial of 4? 24. 24. Okay. Now, can someone calculate factorial of 10? 10 into 9 into 8 into up to 1. So you have till factorial 5, that is 120. So 10 into 9 into 8, 7, 6 multiplied by 120. Online students, did you understood the tracing of the program? I'm not getting answer. That means you're not good at maths.
36,28,800.
Okay. 3, 6,
6,
2,
28,
8,
800.
3628800. Let us see whether our code gives the same value or some other value. 3628800. Okay. Understood the program here? Okay. The common mistake what students will do here. Like in the conditions, all the looping statements like while, do while or a for loop. You only remember I++. That plus you remember always. Okay. And while writing, you make a silly mistake stating to be I++. When we make it as I++, what will happen? Think and tell me. It will not show the result. Someone said something else. Infinite, somebody said. Don't hesitate. Whatever might be your answer, is it true or a false, right or a wrong? Absolutely immaterial. Yes. Trace it. No. Initial value, say, take the value of n as 5 here. Initial value of I is 5. 5 greater than or equal to 1. Is it true? Yes. It will enter into the for loop. Forget it, what it does. Next, updation. I++. I becomes 6. 6 greater than or equal to 1. True. Then, next time, I becomes 7. Is it true? It keeps on incrementing. Say I has reached 100. Is condition becomes true? True. If the I value is 1 lakh, true. So the condition never fails. Condition becomes true always. We call such code or looping condition to be a infinite loops. Infinite loops. If you compile and run, it will remain, the code will remain inside the for loop itself. It will not come out of the for loop. Like, let's say here, if I compile the program and then execute, say if I enter 5, see, we're not getting anything. The cursor is just blinking there, but you're not able to see any statements over there. Since this compiler is smart, if it encounters, if it finds that there is an infinite looping, it automatically stops the execution. Just see here, to show the infinite looping, what I will do, let me display a 1 second. Say printf fact equal to %d. That fact value I'm just displaying here. Okay, the fact variable I'm displaying so that this statement gets printed. So compile the program this time. Run, I enter 5. See there. It is, you're finding it is still, but it is keep on incrementing. It is displaying n number of times there. If I just drag and drop, I can show you. See, I'm just scrolling it down up here. You can see all these lines. These are infinitely getting printed. These are infinitely getting printed. Or other approach would be like, let me display I value here. You will be able to see that I value. See there. Now are you able to see? Every time I is getting incremented so fast, you can see how fast the program is getting executed. At any time, if you can see there, pause and see those are all sequence numbers. Start. Look at there. First number is 4, then 5, 6, 7. It is kept, it's incrementing. It is going into an infinite loop. So whenever you write a program, especially with the looping statement. And if you don't get any responses, any outputs, you have to check your condition and the counter, that is increment or decrement, whether you have made, you have written statements which will go the loop into an infinite state. Infinite means the condition will never get failed. In this case, the condition will never get failed. It keeps on going in the loop infinitely. Understood? When you encounter such things, what you need to do? You need to press Control and C together. Control button, C button, together you need to press. Remember this one. Understood? Followed or not? Yes? Okay. Online students, put in your attendance.